Hey everybody, my name is Jason, aka Shady Reaper, and this is Overclocking and Modding. Today we're going to go ahead and take a look at the 5820k on an X99A Gaming 7 from MSI. We're going to do a little bit of overclocking with it. Hope you enjoy. Okay, now that we've got the BIOS loaded up, this is your basic BIOS screen when you first load into the BIOS. As you can see here, the CPU running at the stock 3.3 gigahertz, and the memory is at the stock 2133 that the motherboard sets it at. We're going to change all that though. We know that the memory runs at 2400 megahertz, and we know that the CPU could get probably closer to 4.4 or 4.5 gigahertz. Me, I already know that I could hit a stable 4.5 gigahertz on this CPU because I've done it before and I already know these steps. But I'm going to go ahead and walk you through it. To get your overclocking started, you go ahead and click the OC. You could either choose simple or advanced mode. I prefer the advanced mode because it gives you more control over your cores and everything like that. Okay, the first thing that I usually do is I go down here to the XMP profile and enable it. As you can see, it adjusted our DRAM frequency to 2400 megahertz with these timings with this voltage. So basically you don't have to adjust your CPU or your RAM voltage, your memory voltage here, because your memory XMP profile already does that. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to change the voltage for the CPU. Safe voltage that I would run for core voltage for a 5820k would be no higher than 1.35 volts. Okay, but see here, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start with a smaller 1.255 voltage with my CPU core. Okay, so we're going to go up here, back up here to where it shows our CPU ratio. This is what changes the actual ratio. Right now our CPU ratio is at 33. 33 times 100 BLCK is your base clock. Ends up being 3300 megahertz. We're going to adjust that right here. First, you would want to start out with something low, say 4.2 gigahertz or 4.2 gigahertz. So you would want to do 42 multiplier. Click enter. As you can see, this changed the frequency to 4200 megahertz. As you see, it says dynamic here for CPU ratio mode. If you change this to fixed mode, it turns off Intel Speed Step and Intel Turbo Boost. Well, basically what this does is it tells your processor not to downclock. This will make your processor run at 4.2 gigahertz all the time. So that actually creates a little bit more heat, but not too much to really notice, especially if you're running a good air cooler or a H100i GTX like I'm running from Corsair. Very good product. So since we've got our core ratio and everything set up here, we go up here to the corner, we click save our configuration and see if she'll boot. Computer shuts off and here we go. Go ahead and boot up Windows here and get logged in, let everything load up. We're going to go ahead and we're going to stress test it. I usually use something like AIDA64 or something that's going to stress all of the cores on your CPU. This way you'll know that if something just isn't right, your CPU will crash and you'll know that it's not stable and it'll either need to come down on your CPU ratio or go up on your voltage. Would not recommend going past 1.35 volts ever. Especially if you have an air cooler. Water coolers, just fine, 1.35, but I wouldn't go much more than that. Okay, now that we've got everything opened up here, and let me see here if I can find AIDA64. Alright, now that we've got AIDA64 up and running, we're going to go ahead and do a stress test. To do a stress test and make sure that your system is stable, you want to go here to Tools and click System Stability. When you click on System Stability, it'll show your CPU, FPU, and stress your cache. You want to stress all three of these things. That will give your CPU the biggest load and tell you whether it's freaking, whether it's stable or not. So here we go. As you can see, it's showing your temperature on the top row. Temperatures aren't much over 60 on a single core. And as you can see on the bottom, it shows your CPU usage. You run this test for about 32 minutes to an hour. Some people run it more. If you don't see this anywhere on this bottom bar, say it throttled, it went past down from 100%, that means your CPU is stable and didn't have to thermal throttle to lower the voltage and lower the core ratio to lower for the heat. So basically, you just sit here and you watch it for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, walk away, go get you something to drink, something to eat, who knows. Come on back and check it out. If your core temperature doesn't go over 90°C, which would cause it to thermal throttle, you're perfectly fine. Because in real day-to-day situations, you are never, ever really going to go over more than 60 to 70°C. So, with the type of workloads that people put on their CPUs. Unless you're doing like benchmarking or serious encoding and stuff like that, then you might want to keep an eye on the CPU temperature a little bit more. But we're going to let this run for a little while, and I'm going to show you here after 10-15 minutes that it doesn't crash. We'll be back. Alright, as you can see, I only let it run 5 minutes here, but as you can see, the temperatures never got over 69°C on the hottest core. And we could see that right here, never got over 60°C or 67°C. Okay, and as you can see that we never thermal throttled because our CPU usage never dropped below 100%. So, what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and stop all of this. We're going to go ahead and restart and get back into the BIOS, and we're going to give it a little more and see what this thing can do. I already know personally that I could get 4.6 gigahertz out of this CPU with 1.35 volts. I'm not going to go that high today. I'm just going to show you the basic overclock that I run every day without doing any benchmarks, and that's a 4.5. Go ahead and hit delete, get into your BIOS here, and here we go. We're into the BIOS. As you can see, the 1.255 volts in your 1.2 volts on your DDR, and it is now running at 4.2 gigahertz and 2400 megahertz. We're going to go down here and we're going to change this core ratio to 45 because I know that I could get 4500 megahertz out of this thing. Also, another thing that you can adjust is your ring ratio. This ring ratio is basically like your front side bus, how fast your memory talks to your CPU. So you could also change this. I don't have the OC socket for my 2011 version 3 motherboard. A lot of MSI motherboards have this. Asus, MSI, Gigabyte I think has one or two, but this one sadly does not. So the most I could get out of my cache ratio is 3600. So we're going to go ahead, and I know I could get these speeds. We're going to go ahead and save it and reboot. And we'll be back when it reboots. One thing that I failed to mention, that even though you turn it on fixed mode here, it will still speed step if you do not go down here to where it says your CPU features. Right here where it says Intel C State Automatic C1E, you want to disable that. Okay, go ahead and disable that, and that'll keep your CPU at the 4.5 gigahertz that we want. So we're going to go ahead and boot up. I forgot about that. We're going to go ahead and boot up, let it come on. And we're just going to go over here to CPU Z, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to start it up. We're going to verify that this CPU is running at 4.5 gigahertz with a cache ratio of 36 radio. That's seriously funny. Yes, we are running radios today, people. Okay, as you can see here, we're at the 49, 4499, which is 4.5 gigahertz. And if you click on memory, you can see here your north bridge frequency is 3599.2 megahertz, which is 3600. Okay, shut this cam off since it likes to come on whenever it wants to. Okay, so now that we know that the CPU is running at 4.5 gigahertz, we'll go ahead and start up Beta64 again. And we'll see, go to tools and to system stability, and we're going to do another stability test. And we will see what happens now. And we will be back in a few minutes. Alright, now that 8064 has been running for about 5 minutes here, I just want to show you guys up close and personal. As you can see, it never throttled. And as you can see, right here, on the hottest core, it never got above 77C, which is perfectly great. As long as it never hits, I tried to stay under 85C. As long as it doesn't hit 90C in thermal throttles, you'll be just fine. With my little hints there and tips, you could overclock your 5820K to 4.5 gigahertz. Like I said, I would try to stay below the 1.35 voltage. I can push 1.35 volts and push 4.6 gigahertz. But do I do that for daily use? No. Do I use it for gaming and everything else? Sure do. Does it perform well? Heck yeah. As you can see, the temps are nice. And as I said before, I use a Corsair H100i GTX. The version 1, not the newest one. But it works great. And as you can see, it works pretty freaking good. As you can see, overclocking the 5820K was a very simple process. It's just a little few clicks of the BIOS and you're ready to go. Well, we'll be back again within the next week or so. This is my first video, so it's a learning curve. I just want everybody to say thank you to everybody for being here and watching my video. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. If you don't, give it a thumbs down. Make sure you click over to the subscribe button, and I'll be back with you with some more videos. It'll be overclocking and modding with Shady Reaper.